Swirly, and we're live. Welcome back to another episode of These Crazy People Like Just Eat Meat and Can't Stop Talking About It. I'm Thomas Ella Clark. We got Justin, Internet Aristocrat, and Joe Zumbo. Today, our topic is what? You want to tell us, Justin, since you're dragging us
Oh,
into this quagmire?
yeah. I guess today is the fun of trolling vegans or debating vegans.
Yeah, it was more
Uh,
of a debate than a troll, right?
yeah, he was really nice. He was friendly. I didn't get him to spurg out or anything, sadly. I didn't spurg out either, which is a pretty good sign as well. I kind of kept the cool. Yeah, so roll back earlier today, I was just scrolling through Facebook. Me and Tom, more me, but Tom as well as and some other people are in a Facebook group called Vegan versus Omni. So someone had thrown up a post like, "Hey, there's a vegan debate. If anyone wants to come and debate, it's on Discord. Here's the link." So I grabbed the link. I really wasn't up to a whole lot, and I don't know. I kind of feel like I like causing trouble and crashing a party or whatever. And so yeah, I went on the show. I don't know if you want to have me do the screen share
Sure,
real
go ahead.
quick, Tom. Yeah. Um, let's
Might as well give him a plug.
get your plug.
We'll give the guy a plug that
Yeah.
you debated
So
with.
yeah, it's unlisted for reasons. I don't know why, but whatever. Maybe because I crushed him so good. But yeah, I guess this guy's channel is David Rams. He's got 20.5 subscribers. It's just called Vegan versus Meat Eaters Live Discord Debates. And if you see right in the bottom left hand corner, there is the good old Meat Mosaic uh, logo.
The
There you
serial
go.
killer episode, no doubt.
Yeah, there you go. That's just what I had on hand, so I just threw that one on.
Right on.
Um, yeah, as you could tell, so he's from Finland, which he said, and I so honestly talking to him, I talked to him before I saw him. Oh yeah, disclaimer. Obviously, I don't think anyone we talk to don't go over there and harass. Don't leave mean comments. Don't do nothing like that. Give the guy a like. I'll even give it a like because he let me on and he let me talk, and he was cordial. And there's the live chat, and yeah. So if you do want to go, maybe the next time they're doing it, maybe anyone else can jump in there. I'm sure they have links to other discords and things like that. But you know, he's probably younger than me. I mean, if he's older than me, I'd be kind of surprised. I hope he's younger than me. But I know this is like bottom of the barrel comments right here, but I mean, look how sunken in his eyes are. And he looks like I'm not really built or anything, but it's really crazy looking at these other vegan commentators and just like where's the chest muscle, where's the neck, the eyes are sunken in. Now I get it. I wear glasses and shit like that. So I mean I get it. But yeah, it's just I don't know. That kind of surprised me once I saw him. But it was interesting. His thing was more animal rights focused rather than health focused. And he kind of drag the conversation. He had this question that kind of kept bugging me because there's no good way to answer it. And he's like, because I told him like, hey man, I've done plant-based before. My health didn't really get better or worse until I went carnivore. And then he asked me, well, what health issues did you struggle with? And I was like, oh, migraines, some mental health stuff,
What
some
about
chronic pain.
perpetual diarrhea?
I should have brought that up,
Yeah,
right, for the vegan freaking diet. And well, what do
hypersomnia.
you? He was like, well, what do you think is the one thing about me that did all that healing? And the problem with that question is that, well, it's not one thing. We're talking about
The
a
lack of
system wide.
anti-nutrients.
a system-wide change
Absorption.
in the body, but again, it's not just one thing. So I was really my angle from it is I was trying to explain like metabolic syndrome and glucose rises and drops, and the effect of insulin. He really wasn't having it. He would kind of be like, well, you don't have any data, or like, I'm asking you, like, what's the blood test? It's like, well, I mean, there's a glucose blood test, but like, so he kind of, and that's kind of like a shtick, right? Of asking an almost impossible question and demanding that question be answered. You know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah, I mean, in these situations, I always think you got to go in prepared and have a bulleted list, and not let somebody else control the conversation. Because if they construct the question and don't allow answers that they don't like, it's not much of a debate, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, I barely knew about it a half hour before it started, and I was just coming in to say hi and just to see what it was about, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but like I said, the guy was friendly. I mean, and then his other big point was that, billions are spent on meat and dairy and like meat and dairy propaganda. And I was like, I don't know, man. The last food advertisement I got was for a product called Kachava, which is a vegan organic drink, So I was like, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of meat and beef advertising. And I was like, the last catchphrase for beef was beef, it's what's for dinner. And it's been around for like 50 years. Like there's not even like a new catchphrase or anything.
Yeah, I think that was from the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's like, how much do you think they spent, promoting the fake meats? The Beyond Burger and the what's the other one?
Impossible meats.
Impossible Burger. Yeah. So, how much did they spend on all that? And then, like you said, Kachava, and I keep getting these ads for mud. It's like Kachava. It's like they're trying to convince people they want to drink mud. The hell is that? It's like, I don't know. I think if somebody, if I had a product to sell and they came to me and said, here, we got this great marketing strategy for you, we're going to market it as mud, I'd be like, you're fired. It's so unappealing. It's like, what are you thinking? You're trying to convince it's cool to drink mud?
It sounds like a product for a face mask.
Yeah, there you go.
More than anything. But I mean, I remember we had a look a while back at the Kachava website, and it was all amazing. And then it's not until you look at the nutritional information that you realize it's not that good for you.
Yeah, well, and I heard that guy Rams admit that it's hard to get like B vitamins, B12, I think it was, on a vegan diet. And it's like, yeah, well, you got to supplement, and I think going into it, you got to know, are these people are just like animal rights people? They like, because you see that a lot. It's like, oh, well, we don't have to kill, there's an alternative. And it's like, well, animals live and die whether we eat them or not. If at least if they're raised and slaughtered humanely, they have a better life than they would in the wild, and they don't want to accept that. They were talking about all these movies or videos they put together with all this animal cruelty as though that were the standard, and we don't know anybody who supports animal cruelty, right? We don't know anybody who's even callous enough to tolerate it.
Yeah, and another one of their arguments that I think was really funny, which I'm not sure if I'd really run into before, was that I was like, well, okay, we let all the cows out or whatever, they're just going to be eaten by something, a wolf or something like that, which is kind of your argument. And then they shoot back and they think this is a win, but I don't know how it's a win, where they say, well, if it wasn't for the industry, that cow or that pig or whatever wouldn't have been born. And I was like, how can you make that claim? And how is the non-existence is better than existence for any creature at that point, which is really weird.
Right. And I would head them off right there and say that, animals belong on the land. And if anything, they're overhunted. And like anything in the world, you've got to manage it. It's like a volcano's going off. You got to manage it. There's a forest fire. You got to manage it. Animals disappear off the land. You don't want to lose your topsoil. You need to manage it. You need to put the animals back on the land.
Yeah. And, I was trying to make another example of like before, this place, America was really settled, there was buffalo, right? Like so many buffalo. And it was like
passenger pigeons too, right? There was billions of passenger pigeons flying everywhere, and they got it eaten into extinction,
And it's like, the animals themselves, they'll keep breeding so long as nothing else kills them. They don't get sick from some virus, or they don't run out of food. That's the only things, or, natural disaster. They will breed themselves to a point of they run out of food and the herd gets called just naturally. There's no perfect balance. So they'll just keep producing.
Where do they think the cows and pigs came from? They didn't come from the laboratory. We didn't dream them up. They were here. We co-evolved with them, and that's because we kept eating them. It's the same reason why we have pet dogs. What's your loner dog's name there?
Calvin.
We evolved with dogs because we were 5 times more efficient at hunting together than we were.
Hit the like button or the dog gets eaten. Just throwing it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell.
Hot dog.
Or yeah, it's going to be hot dog tonight.
Hot dogs.
So, there you go.
Calvin's life is hanging by a thread, apparently, because you could tell Justin doesn't care about him at all. Calvin, here's your chance. There's a microphone in front of you. Tell the world how rough your life is. Come on, Calvin.
Is your life rough?
Tell them how you're abused.
I'm going to abuse you with the
cheeseburger
miserable. From Carl's Jr. yesterday with cheese on it. How awful, right?
Yeah.
Lettuce wrapped.
Yeah, and I where I live, there's plenty of cows. There's both dairy cows and beef cattle, and you see alpacas and goats and sheep and everything. And those animals are having a nice, sheltered, protected life. Cows are wandering, and the beef cattle wandering around on the grass, munching, and then they go to sleep. And then they get up and munch again. That's their life. They don't really have to worry about predators. And there's all kinds of farmers online that are talking about how carefully they manage their animals and how they care for them, because it's their livelihood. They don't abuse them, including when they slaughter them.
Right. And just another argument from him was, I was like, well, regenerative farming, and he's like, well, there's no way to feed the mass population we have with regenerative farming. You'd have to have like a great culling and all that stuff. It's like, well, I mean, not tomorrow, but I mean,
well, that's the thing. They make it sound like there's not enough land or whatever.
Right.
But like I said, just drive across Kansas, and if you could stand it, drive across Texas. There's so much land. You could give everybody in the world 1 square mile and fit everybody in Texas. Right. And a lot of the land, they don't understand that a lot of the land that's not suitable for farming is fine for grazing. Think about cattle, sheep, goats, pigs, turkeys, chickens. That speaking of chickens, the other thing they kept talking about was like, well, domestic chickens are bred to lay so many eggs, and that's not natural. Wild chickens don't lay that many eggs. I'm like, what wild chickens?
He's probably thinking of wild turkeys.
Well, yeah, maybe, but they can only speculate where chickens came from, right? And there isn't an actual wild chicken out there, So it's like getting pretty deep on the weeds and saying, this is terrible, that these chickens have to lay so many eggs. And it's like, I don't know, is it distressing to the chicken?
Yeah, when they're in distress, they actually lay less eggs. If they're healthy, they actually lay more eggs.
Yeah.
It's actually a sign of health in a chicken.
Right.
Yeah, and so they just say, it's that whole thing of, and hey, I'm there. I've assisted in raising animals, but I've never, well, I'm going to get the opportunity in the next couple of months, but I've never actually raised an entire animal. I haven't raised chickens and stuff like that. So things like that, I'm still like kind of retarded. And so I'll be like, oh man, wild chickens, right? And then Tom will be like, Justin, you're an idiot. There's no such thing as a wild chicken. Like, and that's why I wanted Tom to be in there and not me, but the people got me. So there you go. But advantage of being 2 hours ahead, I guess. But yeah, and so it's just that thing of people that have never farmed, and the overall issue of people being disconnected from their food, right? Because any vegan that actually raises, props to any vegan that actually grows their own food. And that's kind of an agreement I tried to get between me and him, was that like, hey, I think everyone's pretty much against factory farming. We don't think it's the absolute best. We think it's kind of like I wouldn't call it evil, but it's a necessity at the moment. It's just kind of the way the industry built. And a lot of us are moving more towards, buying from smaller farms and things like that, and, but he just, he would refuse the fact of, you can feed the world's population with regenerative farming and with meat, and people across the planet would be more healthy overall, which I feel like if you don't care about human health and your own health, I don't know how to pass that bridge. You know what I mean? Because he even was like, oh, even if my health improved 90% or 5%, I still don't think it's worth slaughtering an animal. And with my retort, which I didn't get out, should have been, well, then you've never been terribly sick with a horrible chronic condition that's destroying your life. Because if you had been, you'd do anything to remediate that. And it makes you, I don't want to see a better person, but more functional person. If we're grumpy, upset, having blood sugar dips, things of that nature, we're not going to be a good parent. We're not going to be a good brother, sister. We're not going to be good coworkers, etc. And so I just think eating what we're supposed to eat in a little way makes the entire world better because we're better. And I wanted to bring up this argument of, it's just very simple. When a plane is going down, put your oxygen mask on first before you assist anyone else, right?
Yeah.
Was that meant to be mask or ass?
Ass. No, mask. The oxygen mask.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I don't want to mix that up. But yeah, I would argue he's completely wrong about regenerative agriculture or animal agriculture wouldn't feed the world. And we know from the aspect that, most of what people would be eating would be row cropped, monocrop culture, liquid fertilizer, we know that's far more destructive than putting animals on the land, because we see what happens when people do regenerative animal agriculture. They got cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, turkeys, all kinds of different animals, creating a food web and environment and topsoil, prairie grass, all that stuff that the planet was kind of designed to have. Not saying that, over millions of years, the planet would look the same, but, it's a pretty ideal state for us and those animals, right? I mean, that's what people think, that's like, we start talking about how things are and what's natural. It kind of depends on when in time you're talking about, because 66 million years ago, there was a bunch of giant lizards walking around. That wasn't so good for us, right?
Oh, and their toxic carbon, all that carbon out of their mouth. How terrible.
Yeah, and they don't really understand the carbon cycle, right? So, and how do they think their crops get produced, right? All that machinery and all those chemicals, all the animals, pests, all the even microbes that are killed, trillions of microbes, millions of bugs, and thousands of small animals and birds die just to plant crops. I don't know how they think they're going to compete for food when you got it. Let's say it's fruit. Think of all the pests that want to eat the fruit, mostly bugs and birds and stuff like that. And We're talking about corn, soy, wheat, rye, barley, all that stuff, all those legumes and stuff. What the rabbits want it, the pigs want it. I mean, pigs, I don't know if people understand how voracious pigs are, because they not only eat the crops, but they eat the snakes, they eat the squirrels, they eat the birds, they eat the deer, they eat everything, right? They eat people if they get the chance. So
and that's one point I made to him, was that, listen, there's so many hogs, wild hogs in Texas, that people, well, I don't know if they have to, but people hire attack helicopters and go take them out.
I'm exactly sure that's how it goes.
Yeah, and Apache comes up and just starts shooting them. Blue Thunder.
Oh, that's a tourist thing. You don't need an Apache. You just get a helicopter and people shoot them. Oh, Harry's here. And I'm not sure, is it my Comish? My Comish mentioned the stress of the chickens laying fewer eggs. Yeah. Nice to see you, Harry. So yeah, I don't know. And it always kills me, because they talk about how you can eat and not kill animals, but I haven't seen any of them do it. And then they never talk about the anti-nutrients, right? They make it sound like plants are equivalent. Like if you eat the right combination of plants, they're somehow equivalent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well,
that we don't have to eat meat, and it's like, no, sorry, we have to eat meat. It's just how it is.
Well, and I mean, that comes back to quality of life, right? Because if you just wanted to eat plants, you could do it for whatever length of time. It's hard to say, right? But then you also need to supplement for deficiencies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some things that are only present in meat that seem to be, some of them are deemed essential and some not, but you seem to live a better quality of life and tend to be healthier if you have them, right? So,
well, and that's my whole thing of why I jump into the fray, get in the ring with some vegans, because I really do want them to be healthy. I really hope maybe someone will listen to that and might reconsider, just because, I don't want excess suffering. They're going to suffer at some point. It's not going to be today. It's not going to be tomorrow. It may not even be 1 year, 5 years. It might be 8, 9, 10 years, or it might be some cancer or something, or diabetes, or we don't know, right? And who knows? But unfortunately, I think something's going to happen. Inflammation of some kind, chronic pain, and people get so wrapped up in the ideology that they start experiencing these things, or they get really sick, and it never dawns on them that it's the plants, which is really sad. And so they just keep doing this slow drip poison over years, and that really easily could have been me, because I was in that world.
Sure. Well, and just the rate, the self-reported rate at which people quit plant-based diets citing catastrophic health issues, right? And that right there, I mean, we don't see anything like that in the low carb community, right? Much less in carnivore. Sure, not everybody stays. I'm sure there's people that, we've seen people that are like, oh, I'm gonna have some honey or whatever, I'm gonna eat some fruit, and that's fine. I mean, but most of us, look at that and go, well, if that's really what they want to do, fine. If they're going to have a health problem from it, they can deal with it themselves. But I think most of us are of the mind that none of that's essential, right? There is no actual need for a carbohydrate. And I look at it like the first sign is, when you're eating things that are sugary or starchy, you're likely to get cavities, right? Dental caries, right? And as we've figured out from the research that starches and sugars encourage the growth of streptococcus and candida in the mouth, right? They cohabitate in the film in your mouth and assist each other in breaking down starches, which only suspects us to lead that makes us more likely to get things like strep throat and to have cavities and to get, because cavities are actually mostly caused by streptococcus, right? The same thing that gives you a sore throat. So, it would appear to me that we're just not designed to eat a lot of that, right? And then there is no essential need for it. So, at least you want to minimize it, right? And how are you going to do that on a plant-based diet? Just going to eat spinach all the time?
Right. Yeah, I think spinach would mess with your teeth as well. I do want to talk about teeth just for a second because I have like a non-scale victory. So my bottom teeth, you can't see, but I had this gnarly plaque issue, and I honestly thought I was going to have it professionally cleaned at the dentist. I hate the dentist. I'm not scared of the dentist. I just hate someone poking around in my mouth, and they hate it.
Why?
And they and they hate it too because dentists have the highest rate of suicide of any profession.
Wow.
But yeah, they really do. There's
more than chefs.
Yeah. Actually,
well, chefs have the
I'll have
highest.
to check that out. I think
Chefs have the highest rate of
fact check, please,
homicide.
Tom.
Yeah.
Dentists
I think
is
chefs
suicide and chefs is homicide.
Yeah, I think you're more likely to hurt someone else than hurt yourself. Yeah, you can look it up. Yeah, and so I really avoid going. And plus, like, I don't trust the chemicals and stuff like that. That's more of a personal issue. But so I started using like a charcoal toothpaste, and like it's taking off that plaque. Like my teeth are getting to where they're just normal and like they don't hurt or anything. So it's like just the surface plaque that looked really gnarly. I was going to have to go, and I get it. $50. Is it $50? Have you seen the economy though? And so it's like, is that really something you want to go spend $50 on for someone to, poke around, and then do the deep clean thing and then see what would happen after that? But like, I'm just brushing with this charcoal toothpaste, and it's getting rid of that surface plaque. And so I think I've been doing it for about a month, maybe a month and a half. So I think probably another month, maybe 2 months to go. I think the teeth will be like perfect, like Hollywood status, which is really cool.
Hollywood status.
Now, I've never been one to have a whole bunch of cavities or anything like that. Although I think I started to develop one on one of my tooth. But I haven't been to the dentist in maybe 6-7 years, something like that. Even before carnivore. But I did experience like some tooth sensitivity occasionally. I had gingivitis pretty bad. Like if I brushed my teeth too hard.
Ago? You got to put this stuff in context. How long was the plaque there? When did you have gingivitis?
The gingivitis felt like forever. I mean, ever since adulthood, I remember always dealing with bleeding gums.
You're
like
33 now, and so dialing back to what, your early 20s?
Yeah. And that the plaque issue, I mean, I think that started probably 25 or something like that, 26. Wow. I think that was the last time I went to the dentist. I was 26 or 27, and they cleaned it out, but it just came back, or like the gaps between like these teeth here would just be filled with plaque.
And at that age, what were you eating?
I was like paleo at that time. Yeah, I was paleo then. And
so you know, eating nuts and stuff, and
nuts, popcorn,
popcorn is paleo.
gluten-free pot pies.
Gluten-free pot pies.
Yeah, gluten-free. They were amazing. They were called Baker's gluten-free pot pies, and I would spend like $20 a week on them because
I think I did read an archaeological study where they were actually making pot pies in the Paleolithic era. Yeah, it's good to know. It's big back then.
Probably. I can never tell when you're trolling me, Tom. This is terrible. Because when it comes to that stuff, I am kind of retarded. I don't know that kind of history.
That's actually where Marie Callender's got their famous recipe for pot pies. They found it in a cave somewhere.
Anyway, I feel like I just should stop talking now because you're just going to make fun of me. Anyway, I can take
teeth are interesting, man. And I think that's the first thing. I think that's where a conversation should start. Because who started carnivore and then went, wow, my teeth are cleaner all the time, right? I mean, everybody says that. I mean, you obviously started with a lot of tartar or plaque or whatever, that was a carryover. But everybody notices that because I'm still in the habit of brushing my teeth 2 or 3 times a day, right? I just, your parents beat that into you as a child,
Some of us literally.
Yeah. And it's like, and I don't really find a reason not to. I mean, maybe there's something in the toothpaste I shouldn't be putting in my mouth or something, but but still you go through the habit of brushing your teeth and you're like, man, my teeth feel all smooth and clean before I even brush them,
I'd always get this nasty film, especially on my 2 like buck teeth, my 2 front teeth there. Like all the time I'd be grabbing like napkins or like my shirt sleeve and like brushing like this nasty film. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, it was just kind of gnarly. It always filled up.
So I ask you, that charcoal toothpaste, is that granulated?
Oh, I'm not quite sure. It's literal paste, but it's black.
Yeah, okay.
So it's charcoal, stevia, xylitol, and which I know not amazing, but it's from a company that I like. So I just bought it and was like, well, it's whitening. Let's see if that does the trick. Because I tried the Redmond's toothpaste, didn't work. Helped a little bit. I tried just a salt toothpaste, not even a paste, but like salt, literal salt. That didn't really work. And now I've tried this one, and the charcoal toothpaste seems to work for whatever reason. Better, whether it's actually good for me or not, I'm not sure. But it's really working.
Yeah, just be careful, because I've got a friend of mine who's a dentist, and he's a top dentist here in Sydney, and he was saying, be careful using all that whitening stuff, because it actually damage the enamel on your teeth.
Right. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna do like I'm gonna do it with this for now, and then maybe just switch back to the salt or something else once the plaque is gone and see if it comes back.
Well, it seems like charcoal would probably be one of the most innocuous things you could use, because I think a lot of the whiteners they're literally bleaching your teeth, right? Which has got to be hard on the enamel, but it seems like the charcoal is probably just absorbing something or neutralizing something, right, by absorbing it.
Yeah, it's not coming off in chunks or anything. It's just whatever. It's the coloration or whatever. It's breaking it apart, or like Tom said, what was that word you just used? Like a fancy smart person word. Neutralizing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because charcoal, you use it for filtering or absorbing stuff because it's, the carbon bonds with things easily. So, yeah, well, that's interesting. I don't know. I didn't even know there was charcoal toothpaste out there.
Yeah, you can get it. But I mean, have you guys got the brand Oral-B over there?
Yeah.
Oral-B? Yeah.
Well, here that they make an enamel restore. So maybe just try.
It helps build the enamel
once a day. Apparently, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I don't think I think that's the good part. Isn't an enamel restore? Isn't if it's the enameled, isn't that a cavity though? If it goes through the enamel?
Yeah, that's about bacteria or Streptococcus is bacteria. So it's actually thriving on the starch in your mouth and then eating away at your the finish on your teeth.
Yeah, and so I don't think the enamel is actually damaged. I think it's purely surface plaque that I've been dealing with. And now, had I kept eating the way I was eating, then at some point the enamel, had I not gone to the dentist regularly, et cetera, or maybe even still, the enamel would have been breached. But I think it's just surface plaque, and that's why the charcoal's working. That's my theory anyway. Or it could have been oxalate too, because there was a day with some other toothpaste, I think it's the Redmond's one, where like stuff was coming out in like chunks. Like one day I thought my tooth was breaking apart, and like I thought I legit was gonna have to
Did you go through a long period of time where you didn't brush your teeth or something? Or
No, I mean, I've always done at least once a day. I mean, I think there was a day here and there where I didn't.
okay.
But now that I'm getting real results, I've been brushing more because I'm trying to like hurry up the process or whatever. Even if that's a thing or not. I'm like, more charcoal, better, good, right?
Well, I
But
know
there
that.
was a day where like this white chunky stuff was just falling off the same area of my teeth. And like,
Wow.
I think it was just like oxidized whatever, maybe oxalate or something
Well,
like that.
when
That
you
was
get
really
when you
crazy.
get the plaque on your teeth, then the body tries to protect the tooth, and the stuff that starts building up along the gum line. I forgot what it's called, but anyways, that's a protective layer that the body's trying to add to the tooth to protect it. But the problem is, over time, it causes gum disease, right? So there's both the plaque, but then I forget what that's called. But anyways, Harry,
Gingivitis?
no, gingivitis is the condition of the
Uh,
infection. This is like the tartar or whatever. There's a name for it. But anyways, yeah, that's a protective layer, and that might be been what was coming off. Maybe you had lots of plaque on your teeth before, and your body was trying to protect the tooth, and that's probably why you got the gingivitis.
yeah, that makes perfect sense because that's exactly where the problem area has been like right at that gum line. Yes, that's exactly what you're describing is what I was dealing with. And Phil, yes, it is a fluoride-free toothpaste. Just making that little note.
Harry made a comment here, said gut/oral microbiome of most people nowadays
Suffered?
suffered maybe due to glyphosates, antibiotic effects. That there's a patent on this. Not me saying it. So most of us no longer have certain beneficial strains anymore. Yeah, and calculus. Yeah, thanks, Harry. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's the hard stuff that builds up, starts at the gum line and grows up is called calculus. And you can actually chip it off in pieces. So I don't know, one time I was at the vet, and the vet was like checking my dog's teeth, and like, oh, we got some calculus here, and she actually broke a piece off with her fingernail. Yeah, because it's hard. It's almost hard like a tooth. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess my teeth or my mouth is going through this reverse healing process, right? So the calculus broke off, and now it's getting rid of the plaque, and my body's not having to respond and protect the teeth anymore, which is really cool. I mean, that is really cool to me.
Yeah. Well, I never tried it, but I knew a number of people that, I first got into carnivore, they were remineralizing their teeth. And a lot of them were, I guess, eating a lot of butter, or they're swishing butter around their mouth, and it helped remineralize where there had been dental caries or cavities. And I actually had that happen by accident one time. Back when I think it was when I first read Protein Power. I was kind of experimenting this before I knew anybody online, before I had really, I knew of any sort of communities and really got into it, but I was shifting away from sugar and focusing on protein. Unfortunately, I think I was hitting a lot of protein shakes and stuff like that didn't really agree with me. But I would gone to the dentist, and he's like, yeah, you had a cavity here, but it remineralized. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, we don't see it very often, but it does happen, And I was like, I wonder if that's from the diet, and it may very well have been just because the bacteria wasn't continuously eating through the enamel, and the body had the opportunity to repair it. I'm not sure, because I wasn't doing anything to remineralize my teeth at the time. And at the same time, I had been wearing glasses, and I was in school, and I was sitting, it was one of those lectures where the teacher was using a projector, and I was like, holy crap, I can't read the text on the screen. I was asking the person, hey, can you read that? And I'm like, yeah, I can read that. And then so I was like, you need glasses. So I went and got glasses, And then around the same time when the tooth remineralized, all of a sudden they said I didn't need glasses anymore. So
Oh wow.
I wish I had stayed on the stayed on that path longer, because I actually started getting more and more plant based after that. This is like, that's when I started eating the quinoa and the brown rice and the spinach and the kale and all that crap, lean chicken breast, so circle. And then I really got sick, right? Then I really had bad arthritis and really
You mean
bad.
the hard pronouncing foods aren't good for you? What kind of sense does that make? That's crazy.
Quinoa. By the way, I forgot. I no longer call it quinoa. I call it quinoa, and I forget. See what Phil said. Dr. L. Dannenberg says it depends on your oral and GI microbiome. Healthy plaque actually protects the tooth from wicking in.
I'm guessing
pathogenic wicking, like absorbing pathogenic
I'm
bacteria
retarded.
into
Don't
the
listen to me.
jawbone. I know.
Words are hard. English
math
is a
hard.
difficult language to learn. I'm 33 years in and still struggling here.
There you go.
This is why we should
jerk. That's what you're about to say. So we should jerk.
That too. But we should.
You do that. Thank you.
We should speak the Queen's English. There you go. I am an internet aristocrat, so there you go. Queen's English.
There you go. Right. Spends his weekends on 4chan. Makes him an aristocrat.
There you go. Yeah. Bugging the vegans.
Yeah. So what else? I mean, I do you see that comment I responded to? That one of the things that bugs me about the whole vegan thing is they're always posting these freaking graphics, shaming people and insulting people. And the one I read, it was like, it had pictures of cows and pigs and stuff, and it said these are sentient beings.
Oh yeah.
And I'm embarrassed that I have to tell you that, or something like that. And it's like, it's so smug, And it's like, well, how do you define sentience? Are you redefining it? And now you're embarrassed that you have to tell me that you redefined a word?
Harry just wrote a good comment. It's the diet, Thomas. My teeth are way better. I was still losing teeth in keto during keto, doing nuts and seeds plus bleeding. Even in my keto days, no more now. Yeah, look, I used to get really sore teeth as well when I did keto.
Really?
Yes, they were very sensitive.
Did you use Sensodyne? Just kidding.
No. Idiot.
Not you mentioned a long time ago, I used to have sensitive teeth. Like I drink something cold, I don't know, my teeth would hurt or whatever. But that was a long time. I don't know. I couldn't tell you when that quit, but
yeah, I stopped chewing gum because gum,
yes.
Like if it got stuck up there, like in the molar or something, it would shoot like this. Like it makes you winch. Like it's not necessarily painful, but it's just like that's not right, And so yeah, I stopped even the like healthy gum with the erythritol or whatever the heck, but I don't chew gum anymore, but also even eating like apples and stuff like that. Yeah. My molars are starting to get pretty sensitive. And I do think I was starting to have a cavity start, but like you guys, I haven't had it checked out, but I truly believe it's mineralized because, I don't get any teeth sensitivity, even with ice water or something cold or anything like that. I was even getting to the point where, because when you're a kid, you watch those those commercials, right? Where like an old lady takes a sip of iced tea and she's like, that's cold, the teeth, or it's too hot, and like they sell like Sensodyne or whatever toothpaste or something, right? And I'm like, silly old ladies while munching on ice, literally. And then it started to happen to me. I'm an ice chewer. I love to chew ice. Like as a kid, I would literally go home, make a bucket of ice or like a cup of ice and just munch on it all day long, And I actually asked my dentist as a kid if munching on ice ruined your teeth. And he told me no. But my dad said, don't believe him, because if you ruin your teeth, he makes money. So I don't know what to believe. I actually asked a professional, and my dad didn't like the answer. So whatever. I don't know if there's any actual science there. Maybe our delicious chat can shed some light on chumping on ice. But now I can chew on ice or whatever, and chew on a bone, a chicken bone or whatever, and no sensitivity. Like it's totally gone.
Do you guys floss your teeth much?
I use the water pick.
Yeah.
I use the water pick. Yeah, that's the one thing about carnivore is that you have to buy a water pick or a spules of floss, because you are just toothbrush does not. Isn't that the name of it? Isn't it a spule?
Spool.
That's what I use, Tom.
Yeah. I always, when I'm eating meat, I almost always get some little piece of tendon or something. So those little stringy things or whatever wedged in there. I had a water pick and I used it for a while. This pre-carnivore, and then it crapped out. And then I bought another one, and then I just didn't use it for some reason. But I like flossing. I'm almost addicted to flossing. There's one downside to carnivore. If you can get addicted to flossing, you probably will.
Yeah, I love doing it. I'll eat, brush my teeth. So I use the water pick, and I'll brush my teeth, and then I'll use the little pick and go through everything. And then I'll do it driving to work as well.
Flossing is useless. Well, it gets the meat wedged out in my teeth out. So, because I don't know about you guys, but if I got some meat wedged between my teeth, I can't not think about it. It's like,
it's so
you're there with your tongue trying to loosen it up so you can pull the bastard out.
You go to operation mode. Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I'll rip one of these beard whiskers out and get in there.
When I was gluten free, this happened a couple of times. Like the corn kernels of like the popcorn, like, you know how, okay, so I'm going to describe this really weird. Hopefully Tom can help me. So you have like the actual popped corn, but then you have like the inner sanctum of the popped corn where it's like really flaky or whatever. And
that's the outside.
Yeah.
The thing turns inside out. So then you got the skin.
The skin. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the skin.
Yeah, it's a tough technical word. Skin.
So I do have my all my, what do you call it, the wisdom teeth or whatever removed. But occasionally the skin would get caught like in between where they took out my wisdom tooth and whatever the molar after that. And it would be there for days. It would bleed. It would hurt. And there was like nothing I could do to get it out. It had to just like dissolve into me or something. And that happened it was almost so bad to where I was like, I'm not going to eat popcorn ever again. And like it got to a point where like if I felt the skin in my mouth, I would spit it out because I didn't want it to get stuck in that spot again.
Yeah. Can't blame you.
So that was insane. Now you have to eat a lot of popcorn to have that happen to you. But that happened to me a couple of times.
I've had that skin from the popcorn stuck in my teeth, I'm sure. I remember that. So.
But like under, and then in the back of your throat, you ever get it stuck in the back of your throat? And it's like, like you're clawing at yourself. You're trying to take a toothbrush back there, trying to deep throat the best that you can. But, we're guys with not that kind of experience. So, my gag reflex would kick in. And so it would be a trouble.
I think we need one of those 3-second delays on this from now on.
Yeah, I think we better.
Because we can't edit these live shows.
ADS mentioned that ancestral people naturally they had more space between their teeth, and it's probably true. I mean, a lot of us had, we have to have our wisdom teeth pulled out, or we get crooked teeth because we don't have enough room in our mouth for our teeth. So, yeah, ancestral people probably didn't have as much problem with that because it was easier to get the meat out because they weren't packed in there so tight.
Well, I was a super freak though because I had 5 wisdom teeth, not just 4.
Really? Did
Really,
you keep them?
I had one growing under another one, so they had to like really well. I wasn't going to let them do the operation without knocking me out anyway. But if I remember right, it was the bottom right, this corner here, where like there was 2 growing on top of each other, so they had to really like get in there and rip it apart.
Excavate.
Yeah.
I had some wisdom teeth removed, and the guy let me keep them. I had to talk him into it. He's like,
God.
what? He's like, first of all, he's like, yeah, I got to send you to an oral surgeon because they're impacted. He's like, we really shouldn't do this here in the office. I'm like, you look strong enough. You can get him out. So he got him out, and he got him out in one piece, and I had them for a while. They looked disgusting because they were just like they didn't look like normal teeth. They were all bloody red. You know, there's no getting that color out. And then
did you have the root connected to? That's the cool part.
The root was on there and everything.
Nice.
So,
I've still got all mine.
I'll probably come across them somewhere. They're probably in some box somewhere. But
show and tell.
Yeah, right. I'll put them on a necklace or something. But
did they just do the laughing gas and Novocaine with you? You're freaking.
They just
crazy.
Novocaine. There's no gas. But like he had to have 2 chicks hold my head down. He was pulling so hard.
Beautiful.
And then
what a fantasy.
Yeah. Well, then I got home, you know. And
how old were you when you had it done?
I was probably like 20 or something.
Oh, I had it done when I was 16.
I don't remember. So
I've still got mine.
But when I got home and the anesthetic wore off, all of a sudden I felt like my head was on fire. I was like, oh, shit. And he'd given me like Tylenol or something, you know, and it's like, and I called and said, hey, it's really painful. He's like, oh, next time we'll give you extra strength Tylenol. Next time? What am I going to do right now? My ears are burning. Holy cow.
They gave me Vicodin. I specifically requested Vicodin, and I think they gave me Vicodin. So I took like 8 Vicodin pills and passed out for the rest of the day. Yep. First, I tried to go to the mall with my girlfriend because I'm retarded. We were at the mall, and I walk in the bathroom because I was like, man, my mouth just feels full of like water or something. And I walk in the bathroom, and a guy looks at me, and like there's just shock and horror on his face. And I turned left to the mirror, and I'm just bleeding, like a vampire that had just like bitten into someone.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably go home. So I just was like talking to my girlfriend. I was like, we should probably go home. And then I took a bunch of Vicodin, and then I passed out.
So I was just going to say, one thing I used to get a lot of were ulcers in my mouth.
Oh yeah.
And since going carnivore, 0.
Like ulcers, or those like, what are they called? Canker sore?
Canker sore. That's what we call them. It's just a little sore spot in your mouth.
No. These were like little ulcers, and sometimes like a little, I call them blood blisters. It bubbles up its blood.
Yeah, we call them canker sores.
But I haven't had them.
I'd get out of fade sugar, or I'm allergic to walnuts. I'd get them from walnuts, or honeydew melon would do it to me. So I'd get them too. Wow. Yeah, I haven't had one since either.
Yeah, I haven't really had one either, I don't think. I do have the issue of like biting into my mouth, like my cheek or whatever, or brushing and the brush will slip. So like, because I'm retarded, I don't know how to brush my teeth right, and like it'll like cause,
maybe you shouldn't be living alone, Justin.
Probably not. I need a caretaker. I need my Filipino nurse wife is what I need.
Find one that can brush teeth.
Yeah,
lady boy.
There you go, lady girl.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
Anyway, yeah.
No judgment.
I need someone to take care of me. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, but not as far as getting like a straight canker sore. Yeah, I think that hasn't happened either. Or one of those stupid eye things. I don't know if it's related or not.
Sty.
A sty. Oh my god, a sty is like the worst.
That's if you've touched your hand. You got dirty hands and you touch your eyes. You rub your eyes, you'll end up with a sty.
That was just from dust and wind.
Oh, with dust as well. Yeah, all that kind of shit. But yeah.
Have you never had a sty, Tom, in your eye?
Yeah, a long time ago. Sure.
That's been quite a while.
Yep. Yeah, I have to be careful because I like doing some metalworking, and I notice like when I'm grinding, I think it's either little particles of metal or probably the abrasive, because I use a lot of bonded abrasive cutting disc, grinding disc, and stuff. And I also got to wash really well afterward because I think it's just fine,
Yeah,
gets in your eyes and your skin and stuff like that. So
I do get them from time to time because of cycling. All the shit in the air goes into. Even though you got glasses on, it always gets in behind the glasses.
I was curious about that, Joe. What's the most number of bugs you've eaten while you were cycling? So it must just smack you in the mouth once in a while, right?
Yeah, I've swallowed a few as well. I've swallowed a few flies, a few insects. I was riding up a hill. It was last year, and I was just looking straight ahead. I wasn't looking anywhere else, and I was riding past a swarm of bees, and one ended up in my mouth.
Oh shit!
Stung me here, and it was huge. It was like I'd been in a boxing match. It was massive.
But how did it taste? Would it taste like honey?
Yeah, it was packed full of protein. No, it was it wasn't good. But yeah, look, I've been stung on the forehead before. It's like, again, it's all swollen. It's like a horn wanted to come through. It was stung on the knees.
Yeah, that's true. ADS mentioned that he wonders if Durian Rider's real vegan if he's eating bugs while he's cycling. I mean, it can't be avoided, right?
Yeah, he's a special one, that guy.
I once got stung by a bee in the neck at Universal Studios Hollywood, and my mom didn't believe me that a stung had beed me. A bee had stung me.
Are you sober?
I am sober enough.
All right.
Have I reached my talking limit for the week or for the?
Keep going. This is entertaining, please.
I just hope I can repeat these like chicken sink.
Just make sure. We'll set some rules now. When I'm there in September, Tom and I do the talking to get into anywhere we have to go, because with you, we'll be banned from everywhere.
Yeah.
Deal. Yeah.
So you guys think that?
Anyway, I'm not done with the story. So the stung had beat me, and I was telling my mom, I was like, "Mom, I think I got stung by a bee." She's like, "No, you didn't. You're fine. It's just a little red. It's fine." We went on like 2 more rides, and I was like, "Mom, it's really hurting. Like, can I at least like have someone check it?" And there were like a bunch of bees. Like, it was like random. There were like a bunch of bees, and like around the park that summer. And I went, and sure enough, the people were like, "Oh yeah, there's a stinger still stuck in your neck." So they pulled it out and gave me like some cream or whatever. So yeah, I ran around like a good few hours of Universal Studios with a bee stingity sting stuck in my neck.
Wow.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just going to say, going back to what you're saying, Tom, WhatsApp. So they're the insects. I've been chased by a dog before, right? But a friend of mine was in a race out west of Sydney, and it's a little bit bush where they were. And during the race, some guy had run over a brown snake and flicked it up in the air.
Shit.
Yeah. So and it's quite common to see brown snakes. And
does everybody behind him like dodging the snake?
They're shitting themselves. We'll be going straight to the bathroom after that one. After that lap, check my undies. Check my cycling nicks.
Yeah, so you guys, it'd be interesting to find out if there was any way to find out if vegans had more canker sores, cavities. I mean, we hear all the time that like a lot of these guys that have been around, the plant-based guys have been around, but they all have false teeth and hair plugs and and that you were talking earlier about that guy. What's his name? Rams. I've heard Ryan Rams.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. The guy I debated or
Yeah.
talked to. Yeah.
So, they think they look healthy, right? They've been sort of indoctrinated, brainwashed into thinking that their gaunt, sunken appearance is a healthy appearance, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, to their credit, like when you're when the other side of the equation is American fat ass, you can make that argument. You know what I mean?
But even the vegans complain about how obese other vegans are.
Some of them, yeah, right, so. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, but they're eating all vegan chocolates, and it's just vegan
tons
donuts, and it is. I mean, many years ago, I started keto, and someone I know was vegan, and he was opening up a vegan fast food pop-up store, and he asked me to help him because being a chef, I've got expertise on how to use equipment and how to streamline things. And everywhere you look, or everywhere I looked, it was just very obese vegans. It was everywhere, because they're eating tons of sugary crap.
Well, if you're indoctrinated into that way of thinking, and you're like, hey, this food is better for you, you're less likely to get cancer and heart disease because you're not eating meat, and nobody's killing animals on your behalf. You're like, oh, I can eat this whatever vegan pastry or whatever,
vegan ice cream, pastry, bagel.
Yeah, and you're not thinking about insulin. You're not thinking about insulin resistance and metabolic disease. You think, oh, I'm doing it right. Yeah, I'm overweight or whatever, but I'm saving the planet.
I'm not going to get high cholesterol and heart disease. One big thing this guy kept throwing at me was like, oh, you probably think cholesterol is good for you. I was like, well, it's essential.
It's good for your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a
your
friend
immune
of mine.
System.
Friend of mine used to wear one of those bullshit. Don't ask me about how I get. It was one of those vegan propaganda shirts. Don't ask me how I get whatever, and I won't ask you about your cholesterol. So this person used to wear that shirt, and then they posted on Instagram, "Oh, I just got the biggest shock of my life today. Went and did a blood test, and my cholesterol's through the roof, so I need to go low fat." Dickhead, fucking idiot.
Low fat vegan. That's just it just sounds like you just waste away at that point.
ADS saying there's a good example of a vegan bodybuilder went from built to fat and is in 3 age is epitome.
I think they can drop the link and we can probably not this week, but next week.
It should be easy enough to find on YouTube too.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that I know a lot of people that have gone vegan and the athletes and have had to stop and go back to eating meat, and they've said to me that when they ate the steak, they were supercharged. On a vegan diet, they tanked. They were always tired. Found it longer for them to recover. So it was very interesting.
Yeah, and we've heard the stories like vegan person says, well, I ate some salmon or I had an egg and all of a sudden I got an erection for the first time in a year. It's like, wow.
Oh, good of you to admit, Tom. Just
and Harry mentions that a lot of the vegans they're consuming toxic seed oils with those carbs, so they're entering into the Randall cycle, but they're full of seed oils, right? It's toxic seed.
Yes,
sunflower
oil. Yeah, and they promote. Oh yeah, cooked in sunflower oil, and not good.
Rape seed. Come on, what something called rape seed? It's got to be good for you, right?
Right. Yeah, just even though they have to deodorize it and completely change the flavor so you can get anywhere near your face. Vegans, the epitome of malnourishment. 8. Diet. 3 Ridge. 3 Ridge. I haven't watched a Free Ridge video in a long time. Used to
You know
watch them
who
all
I
the time. It was
miss?
entertaining, but
I miss You Did It Wrong. She was cool. She was like a VTuber. Yeah, she was really cool. If anyone knows her, say hi. I miss her. Her content always made me laugh.
Was that the American Nurse?
No, she was like from England or something. She would be on Bart's from time to time, and
Ah,
her and Bart would do streams together,
there were
making fun of
yeah.
vegans and stuff like that. Yeah.
was she the
Yeah.
the chick that everything she animated herself?
Yeah, she was a VTuber.
Oh yes, I do remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was really
Yeah,
cool.
Justin, you're only getting through to so many people when you use your
My millennial language.
your millennial speak. Yeah.
Well, I mean, at least I'm not talking about the rage pig. So there we go. That's next week. I'll talk about the rage pig.
There was one lady I used to follow on YouTube, and I haven't come across her content for quite a while. And she was an American nurse that was vegan. Then went to Carnivore, and she tore the shreds off vegans. She just ripped into them, and it was brilliant. Hang on, I'm just trying to think. Was it Daphne Reloaded? Might have been. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, but anyway, she was brilliant.
At the end of that debate, though, I was looking at the Discord and I got a few messages, and I was like, "Oh, here comes the vegan hate." But it actually wasn't. It was, "Hey, man, you rock. That was awesome." And then there was another one that I got invited to a new Discord called Nutrivore, I guess, which kind of seems to be like an animal-based, plant-based Discord. So that's cool. Which kind of, I really think the vegan Tom lost power, so I don't even know how to end this. I think me and Joe, we just have to keep talking until I don't know, the end of time, basically, because I don't know what happens if this ends, since he started it. Hopefully, I'm sure Tom will be back in the next 10, 15 minutes. He's in California. It's been a really hot day. Governor Newsom probably had a rolling blackout, probably in his area or something like that. But yeah, we'll give him a few minutes. Anyway, so I really think the whole vegan thing, although I think there's more financial interest being pushed into it right now, I think as a trend, because it's kind of been around for a decade, couple decades, and it's certain cities, metropolitan areas, it's really had some gains, and I have friends that are still vegan. There you are. Was that a Governor Newsom special rolling blackout or brownout?
I don't know if I just lost power in this room or what, but my computer everything went off. So.
Justin was like, "Okay, how are we going to end this if Tom doesn't come back?"
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else can even end the. It's like, what? Yeah, I had to wait for the computer to restart. Fortunately, it's pretty fast.
That was quick. That was really quick. There you go. I was just saying how I think we might be coming to the end of the Vegunerize. Like, I think it'll be around. I don't think it'll go like extinct or whatever, unless they have my way, because in my eyes, if you're not carnivore, you should be like speared and murdered. But right. that's just I'm a bit more extreme. No, maybe
as usual, send all the hate mail to Justin.
Yeah, like I'm gonna start the rumbling,
right.
For sure. I'll be the leader of the rumble, for sure. And we'll conquer all the non-vegan lands or non-carnivore lands.
We're going to unleash our cows and pigs and turkeys on their crops.
Yes.
And wild chickens.
And wild chickens.
And wild chickens. All right.
Yeah. And I really think it's coming to an end. And I think that's why, anytime we talk about this stuff, the vegans, the random comments, people are just like, yeah, no, you're right, pretty much. And I just think the thing that they're not going carnivore is, I think our biggest hurdle is actual carbohydrate addiction. I think that's I think that's a harder thing for people to conquer rather than the decision of going vegan.
Yeah, imagine you're a
not so
vegan
much.
and you don't know what carbohydrate addiction is. You know,
Can I just say, maybe it is a good thing that the vegans don't eat meat, because the price of meat's through the roof at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. It's good for us.
Yeah, so don't don't encourage them too much, Justin.
Wow, you're a little more Machiavellian than me then.
I know it's a little early compared to normal, but I have to go anyway, so got some pressing appointments coming up here. So, but anyways, I want to thank everybody for.
Can I just make an announcement? Just a quick announcement. This week I celebrate 1 week. Oh no, 3 years carnivore. I don't know this coming Sunday, I think, or so. 3 years carnivore. Here I come this week. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do a thing. So be on the lookout for that. So there we go. Woot. There you go.
And if anyone wants to join us, email Tom.
Yeah, email Tom.
Yeah, if somebody wants to come on.
It'd be great to have someone on.
Yeah, somebody just wants to come on and say hi and, do a video, do a live or something. We do, we record some, and then we also do these lives and pre-recorded stuff. So,
and yesterday we did a pre-recorded with.
And we've got an awesome interview coming out. You want to talk about it, Joe, real quick?
With Dr. Carlo Ronaldo. He's based in Sydney. He's a director of a clinic called Brain Hub. So, yeah.
Yeah, we cover all kinds of stuff: autism and
migraines,
ADHD. It's a great conversation. I look forward to maybe having him on again.
Oh yeah,
he seemed enthusiastic about it,
and he's got a PhD, so he's no deal.
Yeah, good night, Christina, Harry,
night.
ADS,
yeah,
Comage. What was it? I forgot. But anyways, it was good. It was a good chat, and I'm glad everybody showed up. Remember, as always, like the video, pass the link on to people who might enjoy it or get some.
Or the dog gets it, or we're having hot dog tonight.
Yeah. What's his name again? Cleveland?
Calvin.
Calvin.
Be Dodger dog by the end of it.
Yeah. We don't want Calvin in a bun with mustard on him. So
there's not much there. Well, I think eating him would probably be like eating rabbit. Like, yeah, he's got some muscle, but there really isn't a lot of fat on him. I got to fatten him up first. Isn't it right?
All right. Do that.
All
right. Well, let Calvin get back to getting that plaque off your teeth, and everybody eat some meat, feel better, and whatever you do, don't fall down
the carbs.